Then we found ChargerGoGo. Everything was super clear. They were very transparent, super simple, easy to work with.
Like, wow, like we've actually like got our name out there to where, they're contacting us for a station. We're continuing to scale. I'm sure we'll constantly be buying and growing and, see, where this takes us.
Welcome back to the Go Forward podcast. I'm your host, Cass, and today I'm with Dean and Ethan.
Hey guys, I'm Dean. And Ethan's on the call with us as well. We are from Atlanta, Georgia, and today we own 30 charging stations.
Hey, I'm Ethan, also from Atlanta, Georgia, like he said.
Perfect. Yeah, so you guys have been with ChargerGoGo for how long now?
I think we've had our stations for about a year now.
Yeah, just a little bit over a year.
How did you guys first get involved in what first drew you to the brand?
So we actually took a trip to Europe in the summer of 2023, and we saw a very similar concept in Barcelona, and it saved our phone's batteries a couple times, and we were like, okay, we've never seen anything like this where we live. We should see if we can find something similar and get involved. So we searched for a little while, found a couple companies before ChargerGoGo. Weren't super thrilled with their layout or their transparency. Then we found ChargerGoGo. Everything was super clear. They were very transparent, super simple, easy to work with. So that's kind of why we made the decision to go with ChargerGoGo over those other companies. Very, very user friendly.
We had a lot of hesitation in the beginning just because the companies we did talk to, they just didn't really protect us much, and we just didn't really know how much of a foot stamp they truly had. And then obviously ChargerGoGo had a great foot stamp, and the rest is history.
A year and a half or a little bit more than a year in, and having 30 stations is a huge accomplishment too, because people hear 30 and they're like, oh, that's not that much, but it is. That's 30 locations underneath your belt. You don't really have to, I don't want, for lack of better words, not worry, but you've got your foot in the door. You know what you got to do and how to do
it. And Ethan and I started with 20 machines to lock down the wholesale rates, and then
nice.
Up until I would say a couple months ago, we just bought 10 more. So we're continuing to scale. I'm sure we'll constantly be buying and growing and see where this takes us.
Yeah, because you guys are just in Georgia. You guys just have your stations there, right?
No. Ethan, you want to kind of go into where we have?
So we actually have a couple in Alabama, and then we have a pretty good foothold in Charleston, South Carolina as well. So that's a city we're really excited about. And then obviously the major college town in Georgia, Athens, that's where we have the majority of our chargers, as well as a good amount of chargers in the North Atlanta area around all the bars down there.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a couple of friends, they were out and about. They're like, is this the company you work for? And I was like, I know whose stations those are.
Oh, really?
They're in Atlanta. I don't know exactly where. I'm not exactly where they were, but they're like, is this you guys? Because I've convinced all my friends to only use ours and not our competitors.
That's awesome.
It's pretty easy to point them out to, especially when you know when you're looking for. And with you guys, when you go places now, a perfect venue,
right,
of where to put them.
Right.
How do you guys approach building those relationships with those venue partners? Because obviously with ChargerGoGo, you don't have to visit every week to make sure the batteries are okay, but because you have the DJ business as well, you have those the light relationship already present. How do you build that moving forward, especially for people who are getting into the business, new distribution partners or hosts? What is your key thing to making those relationships a positive outcome?
I would say a lot of the time we try to use the connections we already had in a certain area to get maybe the email or the phone number of a bar's general manager or owner. And sometimes that'll work out and we'll be able to build a connection just through texting them or emailing them. But most of the time, we like to make a trip into the bar and actually
Mm-hmm.
speak face to face. We've seen a huge difference when we talk, like when we drop by and talk to them in person. Just simplify everything for them, show them what we're
Mm-hmm.
about. I come from the bar industry personally, so I like to try to relate to the general manager or the bar owner or whoever we're approaching and
Yeah.
kind of tell them that I understand where you're coming from and I understand a need for a charger station. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we definitely like to go in person and build a connection personally rather than just through email or a phone call.
Yeah. And it's really important for us too to like, we don't just go in, talk to the host and be like, hey, can we talk to the GM or the owner? Like we go in, we sit at the bar, we build a relationship with like, the staff, and then we kind of just like present the idea and it's like, hey, like you
Mm-hmm.
as a bartender, don't you like, is it common that people ask you to charge their phone or vape? And they're like, yeah, all the time. You just have that like, you just build that rapport with them and then just be like, hey, well, we actually set these portable charging stations up in these bars all around Atlanta, all around the
Mm-hmm.
college town. We've had a lot of success. Would you think something like that would be great here? And I would say 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, like, would you want to
Mm-hmm.
speak to my manager about this? And then they, we actually get in front of that person that we need to speak with, and rather than just get turned away.
Yeah. I feel like when you go into any kind of establishment, just not like restaurants and bars, and you first thing you do when you walk in is ask for a manager, they normally think it's like a salesperson, or they're like, "Oh, what am I about to get myself into? Like, what happened over the weekend?"
We're trained to say no. Like in the bars and restaurants that I've worked in,
Mm-hmm.
someone comes to the door and asks for a manager, we're trying to say, "Oh, they're not here." So we try to avoid,
Yeah.
asking for a manager. We like to show up right when the bar opens, so it's before busy hours, so that we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's real important that we don't go at like 5 or 6 o'clock rush when everyone's going there for like dinner and just getting their night started. So,
Yeah, first thing in the morning, they're fresh. There's no issues yet. They're not
mhm.
busy having to deal with other things. They can actually take the time to like speak to you and hear you out, which I think
Right.
is so important too, because then when you go back in, they're like, "Oh, I remember you.
Mhm.
You were courteous of my time and my availability, you know?"
Right. I think understanding the industry is a huge key in this industry, especially for the bars and clubs and restaurants, breweries, stuff like that.
Hmm. I mean, for that, like understanding the industry too, of not just like the bar scene and restaurant scene for ChargerGoGo specifically, because it's not like your typical like distribution partnership. Like it's not like the vending business. It's similar, but it's a little bit different. So when you guys first joined, what was your like, aha, this makes so much sense now of how this works? Obviously, it comes with time, but was there a certain point where you guys were like, oh, this is as clear as day, or where you finally felt like comfortable being where you're at?
What we've, after placing, our first like 5 to 10, we realized that the people that we have connected with are our biggest resource. So
Mm-hmm.
when we go and we speak to an owner, we like to ask them like, who else in the industry do they know, or like what neighbors of theirs do they know, like other bars in the area,
Yeah.
and do you think that they can put us in touch with them? And that has helped us grow a ton, especially for Charleston, the college towns. A lot of our locations came from other people helping us,
Mm-hmm.
get in with the right person.
I think it was we also kind of had like an aha moment when we realized that even though Charger GoGo was guiding us and kind of telling us where to start,
Mm-hmm.
when we came to terms with the fact that we had the freedom to put charger stations wherever we liked or wherever we saw fit,
Yeah.
that was kind of a big deal for us instead of having to like follow a script like some other companies might make you do. Realizing we had the freedom to go out and find our own locations, and that was a big thing for us, I would say.
No, I think that's great because I personally think they need to be everywhere, like even in the places that you normally wouldn't think, because if you can hop from place to place, you don't have to worry about it.
That's the
It's
goal.
it is the goal. It's 100% the goal, just to have green everywhere on our maps.
It's funny too because like portable chargers have been around for a while, but no
Hmm.
one thinks to like bring it with them, or they just don't want to because it's like bulky and it takes up space, and like having access to it for a couple bucks is not bad. Like that's more worth it than me than charging at my house or remembering to grab it or keeping it in my pocket all night.
Within your network of connections, obviously, you shared how getting into places has been the easiest, but what's been the hardest, or at least something that stood out to you?
Emailing, but yeah, I can't really speak too much to that because Ethan tends to do almost all of our emails. Um, Ethan, what would you add to that?
Definitely contacting establishments through email or social media. It's
Hmm.
places that are farther away that we don't want to just drive through and waste
Yeah.
half of our day. That's been the biggest struggle. Actually, getting establishments to respond to emails,
Hmm.
finding the right email. Because when we talk to them in person, I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're very interested.
I
There's
think
hardly
that
anybody who just completely dismisses us. But
Yeah.
through
I think
email, they're definitely a little more sketched out about it. Don't
Hmm.
really know if it's maybe a scam or maybe there's a hidden fee somewhere, which we try to explain to them that there's no hidden fees, nothing like that. But obviously, it's hard to articulate that through an email.
Yeah.
and also emails are terrible for bars too because if you think about it, almost every day some type of vendor, whether it's beer or liquor,
Hmm.
is stopping in and trying to pitch something to them. So
Yeah.
their emails are constantly flooded, and a lot of times I feel like our emails are just getting lost
You're going down to the bottom of the daily emails, and by the time they see it, they're like, oh, like I don't.
if they even see it. Yeah.
Obviously, you guys agree that the bar and restaurant business is like a good partner for us. Besides that, what is like a typical, not a typical, a good venue, like a great partnership that you would see besides the bar and restaurant?
I would say entertainment spots like bowling alleys or anything that like that. I know Ethan wants to dabble into festivals at some point. I think there's a need for this just about anywhere that has a lot of foot traffic.
Hmm.
So amusement parks, hospitals, airports, um, DMVs. Imagine, I believe that I've never tried to get into it with a DMV, but I would see a pretty big need there with the amount of people that wait.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you said, Ethan, you want to start getting into festivals?
I'm definitely interested in the idea. I've contacted a couple, had a few respond. We
Hmm.
actually had Comic Con Atlanta respond to us.
Oh.
We decided not to do that one. I think the
Hmm.
dates conflicted with some DJ work we had to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely be interested in at least giving that a shot. Obviously,
Yeah.
we can't leave it there forever, but I'd love to see how the charger stations do perform
Yeah,
in a
for like a
festival.
weekend.
Hmm.
Because I remember, so we have a couple of distribution partners, and the past couple months we've had at least one or two festivals, and they seem to perform really, really well.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of letting people know that we're there, and then
Right.
the visibility of it, of having like a booth there instead of them like sprawled out everywhere.
Hmm.
Because then people are like, oh, I need that. Like, I need that bad, actually, because they need their phone.
It,
Especially, I think, in festivals too, when there's like a high volume of people in a crowd like that, and you're like losing service because of it, your phone dies quicker because it's trying to connect.
yeah, exactly. I feel like it's a great location to have, these portable charging stations.
Looking ahead, What excites you guys?
What excites me the most, at least, is it's a passive income stream. That's why we got into it. But
Mm-hmm.
watching our stations go from $200 earned a week to, maybe $500 was a milestone a week, to
Mm-hmm.
breaking $1,000 a week, and just constantly pushing. So like, we're super excited to get the rest of our stations out, deploy
Yeah.
them, just see all of these milestones just continuously happen. So I guess our next goal would be like $1,500 a week or 2,000. So
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, I mean, eventually that might replace our car payment or our rent. So
Yeah. Which is a crazy thought to think that like your stations can like one station, like depending on the location, can like do that for you.
yeah,
And you don't like yes, you're investing your money and time going into it, but once it's placed, it really is passive income. You just have to check on it every now and then.
yeah, it's amazing. It doesn't require too much work, and only true work that's behind it is going to find a business, and then after that, it's very easy to operate. Not much
Mm-hmm.
maintenance and stuff like that. So, Ethan, would you add anything to there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for people to be more familiarized with the idea in the future. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've definitely seen the more familiar people are with the concept, the more likely they are to use it. I look forward to people walking into a bar or an establishment and knowing exactly what ChargerGoGo is. So I guess I'm just excited for potential growth in our area, just so everybody becomes familiarized with it. And I'd like to cover the rest of the college towns, within a couple hour radius from us. And
Mm-hmm.
Also, another exciting thing that we loved is, we have an Instagram page with all of our machines, and we usually like to show that as a visual. But
Mm-hmm.
um, we have a good amount of stations in the college town right now, and there's so many more bars to explore. And naturally, we got someone to message us to get a station, and that was
Yeah.
like a huge accomplishment for us. We're like, wow, like we've actually like got our name out there to where they're contacting us for a station. We're not
Yeah.
just the ones going in. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we got 2 or 3 bars out of that just by people like seeing the need, and they're like, why don't we have this at our bar too?
So glad to have you guys on today. I'm very excited for what's in the future for you guys to expand and even have even more stations, even more territories, and hopefully maybe in the future festivals.
Yep.
Perfect.
Well, we appreciate you, and we're excited for what the future holds.
No, ChargerGoGo is going to power the world very, very soon.
thank you for having us.
No, thank you for
Yeah,
joining
thank
me.